Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Book Theater. And movies always come out every single week. And there's so many sometimes that it's easy to forget what's coming down the pipeline. And while this channel predominantly talks about movies that are in early development, that are in production, that are in post-production, I thought it would be fun to dedicate a video to everything coming out in the month of April, and then going forward from there, because there's lots of stuff that's coming that may or may not be in your particular worldview for what you want to see. So let's take a look at the top 9 movies coming out in April 2017. First up, Going in Style, opening April 7th, 2017. This is a story of lifelong buddies Willie, Joe, and Al, who decide to buck retirement and step off the straight and narrow for the first time in their lives when their pension fund becomes a corporate casualty. In director Zach Braff's comedy Going in Style, desperate to pay the bills and come through for their loved ones, the three risk it all by embarking on a daring bid to knock off the very bank that absconded with their money. Now, I don't know about you, but this movie to me seems very interesting, seems pretty funny, and of course, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin are all phenomenal actors, and Zach Braff, whether or not you think he was good in Scrubs, he's a competent director, and I feel this one will actually be able to bring not only a few heartfelt chuckles, probably some pretty, maybe possibly tear-inducing moments. I don't know if this is one that I would necessarily go see in the theater, but it does feel like something that might be nice to watch when it hits home video. But then again, that's entirely up to you. If you see it, let me know what you think in the comments. But let's jump over to the next movie, Colossal. Now, this movie also opens on April 7th. It is rated R, and it's about Gloria, an out-of-work party girl who gets kicked out of her apartment by her boyfriend and forced to leave her life in New York and move back to her hometown. When news reports surface that a giant creature is destroying Seoul, South Korea, Gloria gradually comes to the realization that she is somehow connected to this far-off phenomenon. As events begin to spin out of control, Gloria must determine why her seemingly insignificant existence has such a colossal effect on the fate of the world. Now, early reports of this film are actually quite high, and the trailer makes it look like a pretty kind of zany comedy that's very much in the spirit of an independent film. I don't know about you, but I like movies of giant monsters. I happen to very much like Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis, and of course Dan Stevens from Downton Abbey, who is in this movie as well. So this one is on my list of things to keep an eye out for, but I don't know if I'll get to the theater to go see it. This one is kind of a hit or miss for me in that regard. But if a Tuesday night opens up and I have nothing to do, this is probably when I would go check out Colossal. And finally, on April 7th, we have Aftermath, a story about the guilt and revenge after an air traffic controller's error causes the death of a construction foreman's wife and daughter. This movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Scoot McNairy, and I'm not going to lie, the trailer made it look pretty damn good. It kind of felt a little bit to me like a more dramatic version of Collateral Damage from 2001. That particular movie had a very similar approach to it, except, this isn't Schwarzenegger breaking in to South America to take out a fucking terrorist. This is him going after an air traffic controller just to have him say he's sorry. The trailer makes it look like it's a revenge thriller, like Schwarzenegger's going to hunt him down and kill him, and the air traffic controller is trying to protect himself from something. But this apparently is inspired by true events, and according to this particular synopsis, their lives become inextricably bound together after the plane crash. So I think the trailer might be somewhat misleading in terms of what to expect from the film, but ultimately the plot does seem interesting, the movie does look interesting, and it's one that I would like to see. But again, I don't quite know if this is something I'm going to go see in the theater. This does feel like a Netflix movie or a Redbox movie or something you watch if it just happens to come on. But I don't know, you might feel differently and you might want to go check this out. Again, let me know what you guys think if you do. And jumping over into April 14th releases, arguably one of the biggest films of the year is dropping, and that would be The Fate of the Furious, the 8th iteration of the Fast and the Furious franchise, a franchise that no one thought would have this strong of legs and long of legs, but it does. And the plot for this one is now that Dom and Letty are on their honeymoon, Brian and Mia have retired from the game, and the rest of the crew has been exonerated, the globe-trotting team has found a semblance of normal life. But when a mysterious woman seduces Dom back into the world of crime that he can't seem to escape, the crew will face the trials that will test them as never before. And this is one I think we all can pretty much agree is going to be a gigantically huge movie, right? Fast and Furious 7 very much grossed $1.5 billion. I am not too sure if that has a lot to do with Paul Walker's tragic death while in the process of shooting the movie. Me personally, I found the seventh film to be quite enjoyable and definitely a worthy entry into the franchise. This one just looks freaking awesome, given the fact that The Rock at one point literally gets out of his Humvee that he's driving to kick a torpedo scooting on the ice into another car. You had my money at that. You had my money at that. So F. Gary Gray is coming in to direct this iteration, his first time directing a film in this franchise, post Justin Lin and James Wan from the last movie. And F. Gary Gray is a fantastic, phenomenal director. His work on everything that he's done has been great. So I have extremely high hopes for this movie, and I very much am looking forward to seeing the amount of pure destruction it brings. This, for me, is not only a see it once in the theater, but see it at the earliest showing that I can, and probably more than once. But that's because I happen to enjoy these kind of movies. But then jumping over, at the same day, we've got a bit more of a drama, this time The Lost City of Z, starring Charlie Hunnam, Robert Pattinson, and even Spider-Man Tom Holland. This is based on author David Grann's nonfiction bestseller, The Lost City of Z, that tells the incredible true story of a British explorer, Percy Fawcett, who journeys into the Amazon at the dawn of the 20th century and discovers evidence of a previously unknown advanced civilization that may have once inhabited the region. Despite being ridiculed by the scientific establishment who regard the indigenous population as savages, the determined Fawcett, supported by his devoted wife, his son, and assistant, returns time and time again to his beloved jungle in an attempt to prove his case, culminating in his mysterious disappearance in 1925. An epically scaled tale of courage and passion, told in writer-director James Gray's classic filmmaking style, The Lost City of Z is a stirring tribute to the exploratory spirit and a conflicted adventurer driven to the verge of obsession. Now, this movie so far has got high remarks, good reviews, a very, very solid cast, and the plot seems pretty interesting. Again, I don't quite know if a movie that is almost 2.5 hours long is something you're going to want to go see in the theater. I'm not too sure how to feel about that one overall, but it could be something worth checking out if you're into that sort of thing. If not, then, definitely wait for DVD. But jumping over to the third week of the month, on April 21st, 2017, we have Unforgettable, which it looks to be an erotic thriller of sorts, starring Katherine Heigl and Rosario Dawson. Now, the plot is Tessa Conover is barely coping with the end of her marriage when her ex-husband, David, becomes happily engaged to Julia Banks, not only bringing Julia into the home they once shared, but also into the life of their daughter, Lily. Trying to settle into her role as a wife and stepmother, Julia believes she has finally met the man of her dreams, the man who can help her put down her own troubled past behind her. But Tessa's jealousy soon takes a pathological turn until she will stop at nothing to turn Julia's dream into her ultimate nightmare. Sounds kind of like something you might see on a Lifetime movie, right? Like when I first saw the trailer for this, I thought to myself, yeah, this is something I would catch on Lifetime and it would be one of those things. But then, you're watching it and you're like, oh, this seems like it's going to be a bit more on the erotic side and maybe actually give Katherine Heigl a decent meaty role to jump into, because she's playing the crazy jilted ex-lover here, and that's something I feel that Katherine Heigl can do pretty well. Rosario Dawson is kind of like the girl next door type that has her own dark past. She can clearly do that. She's done that for years in many of her movies, and she's a very talented actress herself. And I'm curious to see how this one plays out, but it's not one that I'm going to rush out to go see. It's entirely possible my girlfriend might want to go see it, in which case I don't think I'll have much of a choice. I didn't with 50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades Darker, but I might be able to find some enjoyment out of this simply because it does look like it's going to be more interesting than 50 Shades. But again, I don't know if this is a theater movie. You guys gotta let me know on that one. If you see it, you definitely gotta fill me in if it's any good or not. But we've also got in April. This movie looks really interesting. It's called Free Fire. And according to the synopsis here, it's set in a colorful yet gritty 1970s Boston. Free Fire opens with Justine, a mysterious American businesswoman, and her wisecracking associate Ord, arranging a black market weapons deal in a deserted warehouse between IRA arms buyer Chris and shifty South American gunrunner Vernon. What starts as a polite, if uneasy exchange soon goes south when tensions escalate and shots are fired, quickly leading to a full-on battle royale where it's every man and woman for themselves. Now, this movie I really want to see. I caught the trailer for it in front of John Wick a few weeks ago, and it looks utterly hysterical. It's got a higher rating review right now, and it's definitely one that I am seeing in the theater. To me, this is a theater experience. And right up there with something, as excited as like maybe Fast and the Furious, only because the cast looks wonderful, the comedy from the trailer looks great, and I want to experience this with a really good sound system and enjoying myself in a theater. So if you guys are going to see this one too, definitely let me know in the comments, but I do feel like this one is going to be a fair amount of fun. Now, jumping over to the final film coming out on April 21st, 2017, we have Phoenix Forgotten. Now, this Ridley Scott produced found footage faux documentary, say that 8 times fast, is based on the shocking true events of March 13th, 1997, when several mysterious lights appeared over Phoenix, Arizona. This unprecedented and inexplicable phenomenon became known as the Phoenix Lights and remains the most famous and widely viewed UFO sighting in history. Phoenix Forgotten, it tells a story of 3 teens who went into the desert shortly after the incident, hoping to document the strange events occurring in their town. They disappeared that night and were never seen again. Now, on the 20th anniversary of their disappearance, unseen footage has finally been discovered, chronicling the final hours of their fateful expedition. For the first time ever, the truth will be revealed. And look, this is another one of those Blair Witch ripoffs, let's be fair. Tons of these movies exist. Chernobyl Diaries, the Paranormal Activity movies, Apollo 13, or was it Apollo 18 or whatever it was. These kind of movies exist. Now, what you guys need to know about me is I'm a huge point of view found footage fan. In fact, the 2 feature films I have made have both been point of view found footage. And I'm very much down to see this movie. For me, this is a theater going experience simply because I love this kind of stuff. And to give you an idea about why I love these kind of movies, I saw Cloverfield 3 times in the theater, twice in the opening weekend. And I paid for people to go with me every time to go see it. I'm a huge fan of this kind of stuff. So for me, this one is very much high on my list of things to watch in the month of April. But you guys may feel a little bit different than me, and that is totally cool too. But finally, April 28th, 2017, the last kind of big movie of the month is The Circle. Now, this movie has almost no competition that weekend for what's coming out, probably for what's opening on the 2nd of May, which would be, or the 5th of May, which would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So they're trying to just kind of put this in at the end to get as much money out of it as they can, because once that happens, once Guardians drops, there's no going back. But we've got The Circle, which is a gripping modern thriller starring Emma Watson, Tom Hanks, and John Boyega. When May is hired to work at the world's largest and most powerful tech and social media company, she sees it as an opportunity of a lifetime. As she rises through the ranks, she's encouraged by the company's founder, Iman Bailey, to engage in groundbreaking experiment that pushes the boundaries of privacy, ethics, and ultimately her personal freedom. Her participation in the experiment and every decision she makes begins to affect the lives and future of her friends, family, and that of humanity. This one is based on a young adult novel. Apparently the novel is pretty good. The movie itself clearly appears to be kind of biting satire at where we currently find ourselves in this world. And it's one that I do want to see. This is a theatrical go for me because I want to see, for one, Tom Hanks. I support Tom Hanks. I like John Boyega quite a bit. Emma Watson, I'm kind of a taker or leaver, but the concept of the film intrigues me. I'm a person who very much likes social media. I like to be involved in social media, and I spend a lot of time on it. So seeing where they're going to push it is something that I find to be interesting. Also, I happen to kind of feel like this movie takes a little bit of influence from Antitrust from 2001. or right whenever Antitrust came out, the Ryan Phillippe and Tim Robbins movie feels very similar to that, but just, brought more into like the modern era of social media, because that movie was done prior to Twitter and Facebook and MySpace and all that jazz. But anyway, guys, that wraps up all of the movies for April 2017. That is 9 movies that are potentially worth checking out this particular month. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited. We're coming into the summer movie season, and April is not shy of good films to check out, whether it's going to be theatrically or on home video when they finally hit. But what do you guys think? What are you looking forward to? What out of these do you think is going to be good? What out of these do you think are going to be bad? Are there any that I missed that I didn't get a pull from here? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and check back daily for more movie news and commentary from me. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. You've been listening to 3 Buck Theater. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.